Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd. Best, but maybe not final, markets continue to monitor the state of global trade following the Trump administration's call for countries to bring negotiation offers to the table. This is after markets started off June slightly higher yesterday. The regular session ended with all three major indices marginally in the green. The Dow added 35 points or 0.08%. The S&P 500 picked up 24 points or 0.41%. The Nasdaq gained 128 points or 0.67%. Bill, let's get into Tuesday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. Hey, I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.15%, 591.89. That's really not that bad. I mean, the fact of the matter is we are displaying weakness this morning, but it was worse. It was down 0.5%, and then it was down 0.4%, then 0.3, and 2, and now it's down 0.13%. So you are seeing a little bit of momentum, but there are concerns out there, over global trade. I mean, the Trump administration came out and they said, listen, we want all countries to provide their best offer on trade negotiations by Wednesday, June 4th. That's tomorrow. I don't think that's realistic, but they're out there saying this now. While apparently there are some agreements that are close, there is uncertainty around these talks, and that's kind of weighing on sentiment a little bit. The only one that you have that is out there that was the UK agreement, which was a framework of an agreement. It wasn't really anything signed. It was just a framework. So we'll see. They're saying some are close. I just don't see any that are done yet, and that's kind of bothers me. What else do we have going on out there? There is that OECD, which is a Paris-based organization. They said that the world economy is expected to slow this year, with growth projected at 2.9% for both 2025 and 26. That's down from 3.3% last year. They're blaming Trump's tariffs, his trade wars that he's putting on. Meta platforms, they signed a deal with CEG for a 20-year power contract. Yeah, CEG jumping this morning. On the economic front, you got factory orders in the JOLT report that are due out this morning. Dollar General and Signet Jewelers are trading higher this morning after they released earnings. After the bell today, you got CrowdStrike, Hewlett Packard, Guidewire, and Health Equity. They're all scheduled to report. So yeah, there's a lot happening there. And then we're kind of taking a look overseas and seeing what's happening overseas. And we're starting off with Germany. Hey, the DAX is up a 0.1%, or 24 points. Seeing some gains in telecom stocks. London is now higher. Both London and Germany in the DAX, they were lower, but they are now they both reversed and they are trading higher. London is up 11 points or 0.13%. There are some weakness in mining stocks, which is weighing on the index. France, down 0.21%. A little weakness there in the luxury stocks still. EU inflation data is really the big story here because it came in at 1.9%, and that was ahead of expectations of a 2% reading. And, plus you get that ECB meeting that's happened on Thursday. So, yeah, these prices are muted. There's not a lot of volatility, but that's what you expect before an ECB meeting. Guess what? They're likely to lower rates by 25 basis points at that meeting on Thursday. Turning over to Asia last night. Asia was mixed to higher. We got the Nikkei, which fell 23 points. It was up, but it fell 23 points, which, it's really minor, 0.06%. I mean, it just was unable to hold on to the early session gains. And the weakness was really, caused by, the expectations of a rate hike from the Bank of Japan. And there's nervousness over this fifth round of trade talks that are going on with the U.S. But Hong Kong, the Hang Seng, jumped up 1.53% or 354 points. Autos and banks were pretty strong. And Shanghai, the Shanghai Composite jumped 0.43%. It had some soft economic data, and renewed trade tensions is not a positive, but the markets remain optimistic. So, that's a good sign. And then we're taking a look at oil for a quick update on oil this morning. And oil is trading higher. You got WTI at $63.20. You got Brent at $65.20. They're almost 1%, which isn't bad. Oil did shows a little weakness. I did see it trading a little lower this morning where it was negative, but it is positive now. And the gains are really due to the geopolitical concerns. And don't forget the API, American Petroleum Institute. They're going to be releasing their stockpile estimates today after the closing bell. So something to keep an eye on. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update.
Bill, amongst all that you mentioned, you did point to some earnings action as something that's top of mind this morning. You did mention Signet Jewelers. That was your pick of the day yesterday. We're going to get into earnings, but we'll also get into a check-in on that pick of the day by the end of the show. So let's start with earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what is going on in terms of earnings.
Let's start with Signet Jewelers. I mean, they beat by 14 cents. It was done on lower revenue. But, the stock's up. It's trading higher by more than $11 or almost 17%. It was set for like a 13.5% move, and now which is what I said yesterday. And you look at the stock today, it's actually up 16%, 16.76%. So Signet Jewelers, SIG, oh wow. Then you got Dollar General, ticker DG, David Grace. They beat by 29 cents, and they did it on higher revenue. Dollar General's up, $9.59 or 9.87%. So that's a good winner. Upcoming after the bell, you got Guidewire, ticker GWRE, Grace William Richard Edward. EPS is 46 cents. Expected move is 10.15%. But I gotta tell you that put call ratio, it's ugly. 6.05. That means 6 puts traded to every 1 call. It's a little too high. I don't want to play that one. Hewlett Packard, HPE, their EPS is 34 cents. Their expected move is 8.77% when they come out this afternoon. Put call ratio is 1.64%. CrowdStrike, ticker CRWD, their EPS is 66 cents. Their expected move is 7.26%. Their put to call ratio is 0.93, which is essentially flat. So that's a lot better than the other two. And that's what I have for you in terms of earnings action, Emily.
Bill, I will point to that move higher in Signet Jewelers. And again, that was your pick of the day yesterday. We will get to a deeper dive on that one later in the show. Now we're going to get to the day's economic events. As we pointed out yesterday at the start of the week, there's a number of important indicators, economic indicators throughout the week that will be worth watching. So Bill, give us a look at everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Sure. I mean, at 10 a.m., you get factory orders. Also at 10 a.m., you get the JOLTS report. Then at 4:30 p.m., you get the API oil stockpile estimates. Then you're going to get some Fed speak. 12:45 p.m., we're going to hear from Chicago Fed Bank President Austin Goolsbee. At 3:30 p.m., you're going to hear from Dallas Fed Bank President Lori Logan. Now, remember, these two, Fed Bank presidents, they spoke yesterday. So I don't expect them to change, their comments. Factory orders expected to come in at a negative 3.3% for April. The March data came in at positive 4.3, so they are looking for a slowdown there. And JOLTs are expected to come in at a reading of 7.1 million. That's what I see. But that's what I have for you for economic alerts, Emily.
And along with earnings action and economic events, Bill, you're also following other types of data, news, and information. You're using your NewsWare alerts to follow things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and catalyst calls. You're able to look at stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 7 higher, 21 lower, and 2-1 change. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm seeing some gains in Tesla and Apple. Everything else is trading fractionally lower. You're looking for some of the news behind the tape, and you're looking at Apple. Apple files an appeal over the EU order on its iOS interoperability. Amazon, German regulators warn Amazon over limitations over its pricing mechanism. Google's planning on announcing their Pixel 10 series at that Made by Google event on August 13th. Meta, as I said before, they signed a 20-year nuclear power deal with Constellation Energy, CEG's Charlie Edward Grace. Tesla's Model 3Y is part of China's campaign to boost rural EV sales. That's kind of positive for Tesla. That's probably why the stock's trading a little higher. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, we're talking Merck, MRK, Michael Richard Kilo. They said to have been in talks to acquire Swiss-based company Moonlake, MLTX, Michael Larry Tom X-ray, for about $3 billion. Remember, they have that Keytruda drug, which is they had it for 7 years. It's been a blockbuster for them, so the pipeline's a little sparse. They need to pump it up, and Moonlake's got some interesting stuff. Boeing, ticker BA, boy, Apple. The NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board, they're going to determine the probable cause of last year's door plug incident on June 24th. Remember that door that fell off the Alaskan Airlines flight? What caused it? It was operating for years, that plane. They're saying it was probably maintenance, but Boeing really took a hit on that one. But I kind of look forward to that announcement on June 24th because I think it'll clear Boeing. But and you look at Boeing, stock is in the green this morning, so that's positive. Got to talk JP Morgan, John Paul Michael, JP Morgan CEO, Jamie Dimon says his retirement is several years away. Woo, that's a big, that's positive, because when he retires, that stock's going to fall $20, $30, $40. He's worth that much to the company. In terms of guidance news, we're talking CPB, Campbell. They reaffirmed their 2025 adjusted EPS view of $2.95 to $3.05, street estimates $2.98. Dollar General, ticker DG, they narrowed their full year 2025 EPS view to $5.20 to $5.80. Street estimate is $5.61, kind of in the middle, but not. It's okay. It's doable. In terms of shareholders meeting today, you got Datadog, ticker DDOG. They're having a shareholders meeting at 5:30 p.m. this evening. And General Motors, ticker GM, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 3 p.m. In terms of catalyst calls, NVMI, Nancy Victor, Michael India, Citibank opens up a 90-day upside catalyst watch on Nova Measuring Instruments, NVMI. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional NewsWire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk Pick of the Day. Bill, we may have given it away. We started off June pretty strong yesterday. What is your pick of the day today?
I'm going to go with CrowdStrike, CRWD, Charlie Richard, William David. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is 66 cents, expected move is 7.76%. Now, yesterday's call volume, 30,805 calls traded against 28,644 puts. Positive, not highly positive, but positive. Open interest, 169K to 201K. It's a little negative, so it's not hitting all my data points, but it really is the best of all the options they have out there today. Major brokers, they are, raising price targets. That's good to see. Now, last quarter, you got to remember, if you dig deep into this thing and you look at last quarter, you'll notice that CrowdStrike delivered a big miss last quarter, and they expected Q1 EPS to come in at 64 cents to 66 cents. Now, the EPS is 66 cents, and I think it's going to come in better than that. Because before it was, when they did that miss, it was expected to come in at 94 cents, and then, coming in at 66, that was 64 to 66 was really, a shocker, and the stock did sell off. But the last quarter hasn't been horrible, so I do expect them to actually come in with a better result. So, I gotta go with CrowdStrike today, ticker CRWD. In terms of an entry price, I gotta be careful. I mean, because this is going to be a big move when it hits. So I'm gonna say 476 is an entry point because I think the market could open up weaker. It's tough to say, we still have more than an hour to go before the market opens. Right now, the stock's trading 480, so I do expect to see a little weakness in the first 15 minutes of the day. But we'll have to wait and see. But 476 to 478 is kind of my entry point that I'm looking for, and that's my pick of the day. CrowdStrike, ticker CRWD, Charlie Richard, William David, Emily.
Another earnings play today, Bill. And as I mentioned, coming up, we'll do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day, that earnings play. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, what do we got here? Visa launches a new debit card product. Mara Holdings produced 950 Bitcoin in May. Zscaler, ticker ZS, announces a new suite of solutions to extend zero trust everywhere. Johnson Johnson, one of their tablets showed delay in cancer progression. J&J, RTX, Raytheon, they were awarded a contract by the U.S. Navy, $536 million. Victoria's Secret's VSCO, they postponed their earnings release following the security incident. Ticker KTOS signs teaming agreement with GE Aerospace. GDRX, GoodRx are going to be holding a shareholders meeting today at 3 p.m. Expedia is holding a shareholders meeting at 1:30 p.m. Wegovy use up 50% among teens. American teens are increasingly turning to the weight loss drug Wegovy as more families and doctors gain confidence in its use for younger people with obesity. Mattel, the toy maker, is combining its film and television units to form Mattel Studios, said yesterday. Paramount Global, ticker PARA, they nominated 3 new directors on Monday, seeking to boost its board strength to 7 as it awaits regulatory approval for its $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media. That's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Tuesday, let's do that full check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Signet Jewelers. As we mentioned earlier in the show, they did report earnings this morning. They reported a Q1 EPS of $1.18. That was as much as 15 cents better than the analyst estimates out there. Revenue for the quarter came in at $1.5 billion, and this was just below that consensus estimate of $1.52 billion. They did offer guidance that kind of fell right in the middle there of what was expected in terms of consensus. The stock is soaring this morning. Bill, how did your call work out?
Yeah, Signet Jewelers, SIG was a good pick. I mean, the stock opened up at $66.42 and it fell to $65.20. And remember, I say under 66, but it fell to 65.20. Now it closed at 66.81. So even if you got it at the opening price, it was a good opportunity yesterday. You had your 1% because then in the aftermarket, the stock hit 68. And, if you look at the stock this morning, I mean, it's up $11.43 or 17.11%. So Signet Jewelers, ticker SIG, delivered more than 1% in less than 24 hours, which is what we, shoot for, 1% gains every day. This one was a big one. SIG, Sam India Grace, up, 17% this morning, Emily.
I will take 17% in a day, any day, Bill. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's CrowdStrike pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.